Welcome to the HMG Executive Leadership Spotlight. Here's our host, Hunter Muller.
Hello and welcome to the HMG Global Leadership Institute Spotlight. I'm here with AJ Rodrigues, the head of Global Technology and Delivery for Delta Airlines. AJ, welcome to the Spotlight and congratulations for being nominated as an emerging leader. Amazing.
Thank you, Hunter, and thank you to the team as well, and for the recognition. It's really a recognition of the team that I have, with me at Delta today and a recognition of all their efforts. I'm fortunate to work with some really talented people. And so on behalf of myself and really all of them, thank you.
What are you working on now? And on a global level, how do you do everything you do? The scope and scale you're working on is amazing.
Yeah, I'm responsible for technology delivery across Delta IT, which includes a few distinct but related areas. So firstly, I run the P&L and the operations of Delta's captive employee center in Bangalore, which we set up in 2019. The hub, we call it the Delta Tech Hub. It's really become a platform for us to attract and retain digital talent. Secondly, my team leads an ecosystem of services partners that provides the consulting and the external support needed for technology delivery across all aspects of IT, everything from infrastructure and cybersecurity to application development and enterprise architecture. And then finally, we work on strategic initiatives that bolster the efficiency or the effectiveness of the IT function as a whole. So this could be building out new capabilities. It could be developing forward-looking roadmaps and strategies, or it could be working on cost transformation initiatives.
How has Delta adapted and stayed so focused, laser focused, innovated, and really accelerated out of this global crisis?
Yeah, our business and the travel and hospitality space, broadly speaking, was among the hardest hit in 2020. And so that initial period was very much about lowering consumption and costs to reflect kind of this new normal. We renegotiated a lot of contracts, deferred or delayed expenses where we could, but we were careful. We didn't cut to the bone. And we also leveraged that downtime in our business to launch a very strategic multi-year journey to the cloud, to increase agility, speed to market, and innovation capabilities, in IT. But then as the recovery began to unfold, which came just as quickly as things went down, my focus shifted pretty rapidly to rescaling the organization to support this increased demand for new capabilities, new features. This was a time when pretty much every country had evolving travel restrictions changing almost on a weekly basis. And so my team put a lot of managed outcome deals, rapidly leveraging our supply base to support the work. And this was also coupled with a massive recruitment effort in Bangalore. But I think stepping back, I think just the speed at which we went through this last cycle, down and then up, and then, kind of moving through all the challenges you mentioned, I think there are some changes in technology delivery that I think transcend pretty much every industry that have really impacted us, as we've gone through this journey. I think as we've become more agile, the profile and the scale of vendors you need to work with, I think, has to evolve. Like there was a time when I think you could focus your efforts on a handful of really large services companies, global services organizations. And while there will always be a place for those kinds of companies, I think as you get more agile, you also have to look at a product first mindset and look at smaller companies that have some really unique capabilities in one or two very concentrated areas. I think as digital adoption continues to accelerate, the way we resource and contract for capabilities has changed. We've looked at the right concentration of employees and contractors across IT. We have to become faster as we source with partners, moving beyond kind of traditional SLAs and KPIs, embracing a level of joint solutioning, and really thinking about how to get every metric of delivery certainty, continuous improvement, and shared outcomes into the deals we put in place. And then finally, on the captive or the capability center, that's really an employee center outside your home market. There was a time when scale mattered. You needed at least 1,000 people to make these things successful. That market has shifted considerably. I've seen setups as low as 50 to 100 people doing some really transformative work. And so for us, the Delta Tech Hub in Bangalore has really become a very natural extension of everything we're doing in Atlanta and Minneapolis. and really a foundational element as we continue this transformation.
Well, I know you have a very inspirational CEO, and he has a real clear vision on where you are in the market and where you're going. That must cascade down to every aspect or every area within the company.
He is an amazing leader, and I think I've benefited over the course of my career from having some really excellent leaders and mentors. You've been one of them along the way, and so it's I think you have to look at folks like Ed, but then also develop your own leadership style, which has to change. I think depending on the situation, there's no one size fits all. But I think a few constants that I think that really transcend Delta leaders and ones that I try to bring into play every day. Starting with servant leadership, I think you have to think about every member on your team as an individual, where they are, meet them where they are, understand their goals and aspirations, and over the long term, help them achieve them. I also think that as a manager, my role is to hire the right people, equip them with the resources they need, and then get out of the way. Because smart people want and deserve autonomy. I've also come to enjoy over the course of my career watching people come in, take on increased responsibilities, get promoted, and ultimately they may move on to other parts of Delta, and that's perfectly okay. I'm okay exporting talent to the rest of the Delta ecosystem. But I think, as a leader, the biggest thing that I do is try to make sure that my team understands what the big picture is in that moment in time. And I think reflecting on the last 2 years, you have to be comfortable when the destination is blurry and just be vulnerable about the fact that you may not have all the answers and yet give them the confidence that you'll see them through to the other side.
Great stuff, AJ. Hey, when you think about DE&I, how does that fit into your people strategy and your equation?
Yeah, it's actually one of the reasons I love working for Delta. And I think over the last 18, 24 months, we have really deepened our commitment to becoming a anti-racist, anti-discrimination organization. There's this strong belief that to connect the world, we must reflect the world. And so globally, we've been reimagining our talent strategy, requiring hiring slates to reflect diversity, eliminating barriers like degrees and certifications, but they don't necessarily apply. I think we've also stepped up inclusion training at all levels of the company. I was fortunate in Bangalore. I sponsored a program through a partner called Take Two that actually helps us recruit women. And so what happens in a market like India is women sometimes take a break after working for a few years. And then when they want to return to the workforce in technology, it's incredibly hard for them because technologies have changed. And so the program takes them through this extensive boot camp, technical skills, soft skills, and really gets them caught up on what they may have missed over their break. And then we've hired some really high potential people into our center in Bangalore through that program. And so I think, on the D aspect of the diversity, equity, and inclusion, I think you have to look at traditional sources to meet your overall ambitions. You can't just go about, recruiting the same way. Things have to change. And then, the equity and the inclusion, you have to make sure that the environment you're building supports those pieces as well.
AJ, hey, great piece. I'm so proud of you. Great work. You're a top pick for our 2023 HMG Global Leadership Institute Recognition Program, the Emerging Leader category, and looking forward to seeing you again soon in person.
Sounds good, Hunter. Thank you, and thanks to the HMG team.
For more information, please visit hmgstrategy.com and keep up to date by following us on our social media platforms. Thank you.